All right, good morning to you. So what we're going to talk about today on this week's Training Tuesday is, pull this out of the way, we added a new date for our Bid Buy monthly training for version 15. That is February 13th. Testing is still underway for Bid Buy version 15. I'm hoping to provide a specific date for you sometime very soon, but the team is hard at work to make sure that once we do go live, there are no bugs that you have to mess with. So more of that update is going to be coming. As far as I know, we're still looking within the next several weeks, late January, early February, but I will provide you with the date specifically very soon. Intermittent error when downloading IPG documents. So we talked about this a little bit last week, and I think we ran through it a little bit. I just want to provide additional information for you. For those of you that potentially were not on the call last week, what's happening is in the IPG documents, if you go to the Illinois Procurement Gateway, there's a new link. There is a link on the right-hand side that says download all documents as well as view in PDF. So we're finding that there's an error in there, and last week I let you guys know that I thought it was happening for every single vendor. However, what we've done more testing, and it's actually just an intermittent error. So if you do find that you're getting that error when you're trying to download all the documents, which pulls it into a zip file so that you can pull all of the attachments over to BidBuy. If you see that error, what you have to do is you just need to go in and open up the PDFs and then download the PDFs. Because if you use that download PDF function, it doesn't get all the attachments. So you have to go out and grab the attachments. For instance, the IPG ownership information is an attachment. Parent disclosures would not pull over. So, and just as a reminder, those documents for any vendor that's in IPG have to be attached in BidBuy, as well as that ownership information. So all of those things that need to be a part of the procurement file, and hopefully we can figure out what's going on with that error, and I'll provide an update as soon as I can. But just want to let you know that it's not an error every single time, it's just an intermittent error. And our activity that we're going to do this week will be, it occurs to me that we have a lot of information out on the Chief Procurement Office for General Services website, and I thought it'd be a good idea to just go, just do a broad overview. We're not going to do a super deep dive on everything that's in there because there is so much information on that CPO GS site, but I thought it'd probably be a good idea for those of you, if you ever have a question about state procurement, there's a lot of information out there on the CPO GS site. So we'll walk through that, and then we have our fun fact of the day. So for our monthly bid buy training, we added a new date. That's Thursday, February 13th, from 10 a.m. to 3:30. It's in the CDB Computer Lab at the Stratton Building here in Springfield. That's room 320, and it's perfect for those new to bid buy. We run through general navigation within the system, how to do release off master, how to do small purchases, and just that general workflow in bid buy. And we are training now on version 15, so there's no more training on the previous version. And email cpogs.training@illinois.gov to register for those. If the demand is there like it was in January we actually are having 4 different trainings, and they are all full. So we appreciate that the need is out there for this, certainly as we move into the new version, as well as it's for those of you that may have new roles. You go to a new agency, you may have taken on more of a procurement role. This is very important to be able to know how to utilize the system. And so we will have, if the demand is there, we'll have additional dates in February. Okay, so let's go out and walk through the CPOGS website. Within our slides here, there's a link. You can always hit the link, which will be on our slides. Okay, so here is the Chief Procurement Office for General Services website. If you don't know how to get to this website, you have the link there as well, but you can always just Google CPO GS Illinois or Chief Procurement Office General Services Illinois, and that's the first website that pops up. So just to walk through here really quickly, some of the header tabs up here, the statutes and rules. Now this is where, at the end of the day, as SPO, we are guiding agencies and making sure agencies comply with procurement code and rule. And so here's a link to the actual procurement code, administrative rules, BEP Act, Joint Purchasing Act, State Officials and Employee Ethics Act, as well as rules of the EEC. So, like I said, we're not going to open up all these. That could end up being a very long training, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of information here. Going to the right, we have the Chief Procurement Offices. We have the Capital Development Board, Department of Transportation, CPO for General Services, and Higher Education. So you can have links to each one of these CPOs. Publications and reports. This is where you can go back and take a look at some of the annual reports. That has a lot of information on what the CPO Office for General Services does. Here's a great one. These annual reports are fantastic, and it's a great snapshot for kind of a year in review, as well as small business reports, sole source procurements. This is all public information. Moving further to the right, we have links. That links to PPB, Comptroller, Treasurer, Secretary of State, Attorney General, Inspector General, Legislative Ethics Commission, and the IPG. Contact Us is just a link to the General Services main office. All right, so there's that information. And then jobs to the right is where we have, when the CPOGS has position openings. And currently we do have some positions that are available, that are open. And so you can take a look at those position postings that are out here for all your details. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the main screen, back to our home page. There's some just general information about the CPO's office, the role of the SPO, a calendar of events, if we have events that are upcoming. The training center, this is what, I know we've spoken about this a few times, but just as a reminder for anybody that might not have been on previous calls, all of our training are going to be posted here in the training center. All of the training Tuesdays, all the slides, and all the links to the YouTube videos. Each one of these are recorded, as well as the link each week to the WebEx. And so I will still get the question of, could you forward me the link? Could you forward me the invite? We don't have it as an Outlook invite. We just actually have a link here, so that way anybody that's involved in procurement can come to these Tuesday trainings. So all of our trainings are out here for Tuesdays. We're going to be updating the Training Center website soon to be providing additional information and additional trainings. Now I keep scrolling down to the bottom. We have these links all across the bottom here. The bottom left, we have all of the CPOGS staff. So that Meet the Team there has a list of all the SPOs and links to each one of their emails, as well as the SPO assignments. It's a PDF that they keep updated. So each SPO is assigned to multiple agencies. So that's our list there. Moving further to the right, the Bid Buy link. This is where you can find all the training resources involved with Bid Buy. So on this link, we have the contact information for the state user, as well as the Bid Buy state user help desk. For vendors, they can the vendor help desk, Bid Buy resources for vendors, Bid Buy resources for state agencies. So if you're going to look for your job aids, this is where you're going to go. You're going to go to the CPOGS website, select Bid Buy, and then Bid Buy resources for state agencies. And that's going to open up our training resources page specifically for Bid Buy. So there's a little difference between that training center link and the Bid Buy resources page. We want to have all the job aids in one place, but that training center is going to, we're going to end up doing other different things within procurement training. So here's our Bid Buy training resources, the reference library, old videos, registrations. So if you're looking for a new employee needs to get registered within Bid Buy from an agency perspective, you select on that registration. We have an FAQ. But what's probably going to be used most often are our job aids. So, if I'm looking to do an IFB or a sole source or small purchase, I'm going to go directly to my procurement method. I'm going to select that, and it's going to open up the job aids below. Okay, then I want to make sure that I'm using the most recent version. That's always going to be very important because as we are going through the job aids, it's been a project over the last several months. We are finding little things that we needed to alter and change, or generally just update for processes, as well as if procurement laws change, we always need to be able to update this. So just make sure that you're always using the most updated version for these job aids. You select on the subject, and your job aid will be below there, and it's going to help you walk through step by step in bid buy what is needed. Okay, so that's going to be something that will be very helpful for you, as well as your unified procurement, the up joint purchasing job aids are there as well. So moving further to the right, procurement opportunities link. Going nice and slow today. Oh, that one's not one open. Maybe we'll come back to it. Suspensions and debarments. If a vendor has been suspended or debarred from doing business with the state, you can click on that. One of the main ones I wanted to highlight was certainly the bid by job aids, because you guys use that a lot, but as well as the procurement resources library. There is just an amazing amount of information here in the procurement resources library. This is also where you're going to find all your templates. There it is. Okay, so we have links within our procurement resource library. And like I said, I'm not going to go open up every single one of these, but I do want you just to know that this is out here and there's tons of information. For instance, resources for vendors, links to this is just a link that goes back to that bid by training resources page if you happen to be here. CPO notices, that's really important. So if we open up CPO notices, this is a listing of every single CPO notice by FY. So here's the FY 2020. For each one of these, you have a CPO notice, and there's lots of information there that we are utilizing. CPO memos as well. Open up CPO memos. There's tons of information out there. So for those of you that are wanting to learn a little bit more about procurement and really kind of not just the how we do procurement, but why as well. That's very important, and it really enables you to do your job better if you know the reasoning behind it. So it's not just some random reason, it's because we are complying with the procurement code or rule. And some of these other, within the CPO memos, here we go. You can go and read those as well. Solicitation and contract templates and forms. So I need to do an IFB or an RFP. I always want to go out here to make sure I'm utilizing the most recent version. So here's our solicitation templates. You're going to find a lot of different, a lot of your forms are all out here on this site. That's going very slowly as well. There we go. So IFB, RFP, all your templates are out here, your Forms A. Make sure you're utilizing the most recent version. We have our standalone contract templates, your BOAs, your renewals, all of these different forms, conflicts of interest, financial disclosures. We could spend hours walking through each one of these, and at some point we'll touch on one of these. So, for instance, a Training Tuesday will be how to complete financial disclosures and conflicts of interest, obviously something that we're going to be talking about. All of these are out here, as well as so in your new documents, some of the newer ones that are 20.1, late execution waiver attestation of facts, your pre-submission conference sign-in sheet, your emergency purchase statement. All of those forms are all out here, as well as links to even a couple of the PPB forms that we use quite a bit, which is the sole source justification form, as well as that conflict of interest review request form. So we have goal facilitation, BEP, VBP, all of your different forms are going to be out here. So this is something that you'll utilize quite a bit in the procurement resources library. One of the other links was the SPO determination form link. Determination, so your non-responsive or not responsible form is here. Small business forms. This is where you can find the small business set-aside waiver. And I believe that's the only form there. So I'm not even going to wait for that to load. So are there any questions or is there anything else like on this website that I can show you? I know you guys can go and just poke around and take a look at what's out there on the site, but I really thought it was important because a lot of times we'll get questions about where certain forms are, or why a certain thing is, or can you share this CPO notice? I remember there was a notice last year, but I don't know where it's at, and so I think that's just helpful for you to get a quick overview of what's on the site. The last two links here, the small business set aside link. So this is publicly facing, right? So the vendors can go and see, maybe they've heard of the small business set aside program. What is it that I can go in and learn some more information about that small business set aside program? It talks about the different categories of revenues that a vendor can receive per year and still be able to be in the small business set aside program, as well as some links to some other resources, including the Illinois Procurement Gateway. The Unified Procurement Program is the final link on the bottom right, and that's going to have all the information for your joint purchasing. Different processes that are there, the job aids as well for utilizing the bid buy and joint purchasing is all in the UP program, which is growing by leaps and bounds. And I know agencies are really starting to utilize the joint purchasing, which is great. That's fantastic. We'd love to see that. And all the information is here if it would ever load. Well, you know what? I'm not going to sit and wait for it because you guys are all very capable to go on the computer and open up that way. I really want to make sure we did some outreach to let you know that those resources are out there for you. There it is. It opened up. So we have the processes and resources for state agencies, resources for municipalities, qualified nonprofits, governmental units, as well as a list of cooperatives and consortiums that have already been pre-vetted. And so, in order to be able to, piggyback or utilize some of the joint purchasing aspects, these consortiums and cooperatives have to be vetted to make sure that they are complying with our Illinois state laws. So there's a list here, and the UP team is constantly going through different consortiums and cooperatives to vet them to make sure that, yes, are their contracts, is the state of Illinois able to utilize those contracts? So there's a list there that you can walk through. Hey, here's a list of our consortiums and cooperatives that we're able to use via the joint purchasing program. So I invite you to go out and do some digging and take a look around. If you have any questions, certainly please feel free to reach out to the UP folks, as well as you can always reach out to me as well. So that was a quick overview of the CPO-GS website. So we get to our fun fact of the day. So the first procurement professional, since we're all procurement professionals here. In the ancient world, supplies, materials, and workers were routinely recorded. One of the earliest known examples of this dates back to the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Using papyrus scrolls, scribes tracked orders through fulfillment, effectively becoming history's first procurement professionals. So there you go. Procurement goes all the way back. And I want to shout out to Andy Hennig for shooting me that fun little fact. That was fun. So do we have any other questions? Here's my email here that you can always reach out to ask some questions, as well as you can contact cpogs.training.illinois.gov. All right, so you can always reach out for questions. I don't see any other questions, so we'll go ahead and end the call. Everybody have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you.